welcome to my channel. Today we will learn about reading and analysis of maps. In this video we will see about what is a map, maps down the ages, projection in a map, colonization, explorations, military use in map making, use of maps in our times, reading thematic maps, make a population map, conventional symbols on maps, representation of relief features on maps, and what is a atlas? What is a map? A map, unlike a photograph, does not show any real features. A map is used by geographers to show features that we consider important, for example, distribution of rainfall, soil types, population, languages spoken by people, crops grown, markets, schools, etc. A map maker may also leave out many features visible on a photo, like individual houses, trees, etc. A map actually is a model of a place giving those features that the map maker considers to be of importance. Maps down the ages. Sumerians. Maps have a long history behind them. Some of the earliest surviving maps were made by Sumerians, present-day Iraq, about 4,000 years ago. These were imprinted on clay tablets. The Sumerians' temples owned large tracts of land and they had to keep account of income from the lands. That is why they tried to keep records of the lands with the help of maps. Babylonians. Babylonians, also people of present-day Iraq, made some of the earliest world maps, that is the world as they thought of it. See below one such map drawn on a clay tablet about 2,600 years ago. They imagined the world as a round disc. The inner circle had all the cities, the small circles, villages, rivers, marshes and mountains they knew about. The city of Babylon was shown in the middle. Beyond the inner circle was Bitter River, or saltwater ocean, in which were 7 triangular islands. Hecataeus. Around the same time, Greek geographers like Anaximander and Hecataeus of Miletus, now in Turkey, and Herodotus, also prepared world maps by arranging places from east to west and north to south. Their ideas were similar to the Babylonians, who believed that the earth was a round disk surrounded by ocean river. Romans maps. The Greeks and after them the Romans were greatly interested in making maps and knowing about places near and far. They wanted to conquer the world, build colonies in far-off places and trade with them. You may have heard of Alexander, a Greek king who tried to conquer the whole world and came as far as India some 2,300 years ago. Similarly, Roman traders had established trading stations on Indian coasts to which they came by ships. Maps were useful and necessary for them. Ptolemy maps. Ptolemy was one of the most famous geographers of the ancient world who prepared detailed maps of the world using these lines. However, these maps were all lost for a long time. These books of Ptolemy were used by the Arab scholars and sailors to prepare maps. One famous Arab map maker was Al-Idrisi, who prepared a world map for his king in 1154. The map with legends written in Arabic, while showing the Eurasian continent fully, only shows the northern part of the African continent and lacks details of the southern Africa and Southeast Asia. Chinese maps. Around the same time the Chinese too were preparing maps as their emperors wanted to know about the villages and towns under their control. These maps showed China at the center and Europe, halfway round the globe, depicted very small and horizontally compressed at the edge. Significantly, Africa was also mapped from an Indian Ocean perspective, showing the Cape of Good Hope area, which Europeans would not visit until much later. See the map of Da Ming Hun Yi Tu, painted on 17 square meters of silk in 1389 for the Emperor of China. Bible maps. Before they discovered the books of Ptolemy, European map makers were greatly influenced by religious ideas of the Bible and made maps of the world to represent those ideas. See below a map made around those times. This really was a model of the world according to the Bible. It is surrounded by oceans, and is divided into 3 continents: Asia, Europe and Africa. Of these, Asia was considered the largest and the most important, as it had Jerusalem, which was the birthplace of Jesus Christ. Europeans' maps. Around 1480s, Europeans rediscovered Ptolemy books but not the maps, and were stunned to learn about his accurate description of location of places. They prepared new maps based on them. His is based on actual mathematical calculations of distances and directions. During the 15th century, Ptolemy inspired a new enthusiasm in the non-Arabic world, and some important schools: the Italian school, the French school, the English school, the German school grew up. The Arabs had blocked the trade route to India across the Mediterranean Sea. West European traders from Spain, Portugal, Holland and England began to search for other routes to India. Thus Columbus went westwards and discovered America, while Vasco da Gama went around Africa and reached India. All this also helped to prove that the Earth was not a flat disk but a sphere like a ball. In the 16th century, Holland emerged as a major trading power. With the rise of Holland's maritime supremacy and trade, their map makers made major breakthrough in their work. The father of Dutch cartography was Gerardus Mercator, 1512–94, who examined the previous works and did much original work on maps. Mercator's map projection is famously known Mercator projection. Most of the world maps we use are based on his projection. Projection in a map. As you know, the world is like a ball, but when we draw it on paper we cannot show the curvature and have to show it as flat. Mercator devised a method for showing the correct shapes and directions of continents, but with distortion of sizes and distances. This method, called Mercator's projection, is still used to show the world. World map by Gerardus Mercator in 16th century. Colonization, explorations, military use in map making. When European powers colonized the entire continents like North and South Americas, Africa, Australia and Asia, they needed to know about the places, their climate, crops, mineral resources and about the people living there. They sent scientific expeditions consisting of map makers and others to explore the different parts of the world and prepare maps. These teams fought their way into interiors of continents, crossing mountains, deserts and rivers, fighting local peoples to get the necessary information. This information and the maps enabled the colonial powers to establish their rule over these areas and also exploit their resources. When the British established their power in India, they began making detailed maps of the interiors of the country. They established a department called Survey of India to survey the entire country and prepare maps. James Rennell was appointed the Surveyor General, and he prepared one of the first survey-based maps of India. In 1802, William Lambton began one of the most important geographical surveys in the world, starting from Chennai in the south and culminating in the Himalayas to determine the length of a longitude and also the heights of various places. This survey was completed by Sir George Everest. It is this survey which established that Mount Everest is the highest peak in the world. It was named after George Everest, who measured its height for the first time using scientific methods. The survey began in Chennai because all heights are measured from the sea level. We not only have very accurate and detailed maps, but it is no longer possible for governments to keep them as secrets. This information is available to all people for study and use today. Use of maps in our times. As we saw above, maps were made and used for a variety of purposes, for trade, sailing, for conquests and colonizing, and for fighting wars. In our own times, maps are used extensively for planning, development of countries. This requires planners to identify the problems faced by a region and its resources, etc. This is done with the help of maps. For example, we can make a map of regions which have very little drinking water. We can compare this map with maps showing water resources, rainfall, groundwater, and rivers. Based on this comparison, we can decide what is the best way to make drinking water available to all the people of the region, by sinking tube wells, or building dams across streams, or making tanks, cherubis, or bringing water from distant places in large pipes. Similarly, we can plan agricultural development, setting up new industries, building roads, hospitals, and schools with the help of maps. Spreading thematic maps. They can also be used to show different kinds of information, like the nature of the terrain, hilly, rock, plain, etc., economic activities of people, languages spoken, literacy, etc. Usually a map focuses on only one aspect. Such maps are called thematic maps. There are, for example, political maps which give information about mandals, districts, states, countries, capitals, etc. Some are physical maps which show mountains, rivers, plateaus, etc. Some are land use maps which show how people use land. For example, some parts of village lands may be used for pasture, for raising food crops, for raising cash crops like cotton, while some parts may be reserved for residence, schools, places of worship, and shops. When we make a map to show the use of land in that village, we have to use different kinds of symbols, colors, and patterns to show each of these separately. Given below is the color code used to represent the land cover and land use in maps. Color, land cover, land use. Dark green color is indicates to forest. Light green color is indicates to grasslands. Brown color is indicates to land useful for agriculture. Yellow topographical maps color is indicates to cropped area. Dark gray color is indicates to mountains. Light gray color is indicates to hills. Yellow color is indicates to plateaus and swamps. Light red color is indicates to wastelands. Light blue color is indicates to tanks, rivers, canals, wells, etc. Dark blue color is indicates to seas and oceans. White color is indicates to places where minerals are available. Black color is indicates to boundaries. Make a population map. Population can also be shown on a map through shading. These are called population density maps. First we estimate the total number of people living in a place. Then we measure the total area of the place and then divide the number of people by the area of the place. For example, if the area of a village is 10 square kilometers and 1,000 people live in it, the population density of the village is 100 per square kilometer. By using the same method, we can find out the density of population of entire states. Conventional symbols on maps. While map makers usually use their own symbols, some symbols are used conventionally by most map makers. In India, we usually follow the conventions used by the Survey of India. Representation of relief features on maps. Relief feature means the high and low places on the surface of the earth. The main relief features are hills, valleys, plateaus, plains, river basins, rocky and sandy places. Since the maps are flat, we cannot show the heights on them. We therefore use a special symbol for this called contours or contour lines. Contour lines. Contour lines are usually drawn at fixed intervals of height such as 20 meters, 50 meters, or 100 meters. Uniform contour interval is maintained on a given map. Contour lines give an indication of the slope of the land as well as the elevation above sea level. Where contour lines are far apart, it represents a gentle slope. Closer lines represent steep slope and uniformly spaced lines represent uniform slope. Atalas. An atalas is a collection of maps, usually arranged according to different themes. Open the school atalas and look at the list of all the maps shown in it. You can find out much useful information about different places and use it to imagine the life of people living there. Density of population year 2011, Census 2011, 29 states in India. State and density. Andhra Pradesh density is 308. Arunachal Pradesh density is 17. Assam density is 397. Bihar density is 1102. Chhattisgarh density is 189. Goa density is 394. Gujarat density is 308. Haryana density is 573. Himachal Pradesh density is 123. Jammu and Kashmir density is 56. Jharkhand density is 414. Karnataka density is 319. Kerala density is 859. Madhya Pradesh density is 236. Maharashtra density is 365. Manipur density is 122. Meghalaya density is 132. Mizoram density is 52. Nagaland density is 119. Odisha density is 269. Punjab density is 550. Rajasthan density is 201. Sikkim density is 86. Tamil Nadu density is 555. Tripura density is 350. Uttarakhand density is 189. Uttar Pradesh density is 828. West Bengal density is 1030.
If you like this video and want to watch many more amazing videos like these, like and subscribe to our channel.